Changing the Narrative. I'm your host, Sammika Cosey. I would like to thank you all for tuning in and joining us today. Today, we have a very great episode. We have the CEO and the founder of Au-Some Kidz Rock with us today, Miss Christina Hopson. She is going to talk about Au-Some Kidz Rock, what do they do, and her reasons behind the organization. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous, but I'm here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for still being here with us today.
Of course.
We would love to hear all about your organization, Au-Some Kidz Rock. Okay. So, where did the name come from?
Well, to be honest, so that we had like a vision board party at my church, and so they gave us a notebook and they said to write down our visions, and so I just wrote it down. I know it sounds different because if you look at the spelling, it's not like the regular Au-Some. So it's AU the hyphen capital SOME KIDZ and then rock. But it started, I wrote it down like 2010. Yeah. And I put at the top, I said 2017. And so time went on, years went on, and I think I was actually in a class. I was at Indiana Wesleyan, and we were in a business class, and we was doing like a 5K event, and it was me and two other people in the group. And so I knew exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. And they looked at me, they was like, have you done this before? I said, no. And so I will never forget the guy in my group, he said, why haven't you started yet? What are you waiting on? And I said, well, I didn't know. Don't you have to have fun? And he said, no. You already got the blueprint. Just run with it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so when he said that, he said, when you do a business, he said, you're going to lose sleep. You're going to sacrifice a lot. But in the end, it's going to pay off. So I went home that same night, and I started working on it. In December of 2017 is when Au-Some Kidz Rock came about.
Can you go behind the reasoning for the AU, the hyphen SOM? Why did you spell it different?
To be honest, I think it was because I didn't want it to be like everybody else. You see things or you see people with the same things, but for me, I wanted to stand out. Mm-hmm. And not only that, my reason behind it was my kids. So, of course, my son, Caleb, right now he's 16 years old. He has autism, but he's very high functioning. He'll be 17, actually March 17th. Mm-hmm. March 3rd, I'm sorry. And then he'll be graduating 2026. He'll be a senior. So he is the reason why I started Au-Some Kidz Rock.
And so going through that process of starting Au-Some Kidz Rock, how was that for you?
I'm not gonna lie, it was no walk in the park. Because at the time, I had my daughter. She'll be 8 Saturday, but she was a baby. And not only that, just starting the process of what to do, becoming a nonprofit. That part was easy because I had help from my grant teacher.
Okay.
He helped me through getting it incorporated, the name incorporated, becoming a nonprofit, all the paperwork, getting grants and everything. But at home, being a mom of 4, being a wife, that's a lot, right?
Yes.
And trying to juggle the both and then trying to keep doing it, it became a lot. But I said, no, this is something I want to do. And I just kept going with it, making sure that I stayed on top of it, getting everything turned in. Not only that, by me starting Au-Some Kidz Rock, had birthed my other organization I have. It's called Each One Reach One. So what I do is I'm always giving back. I just never shared on social media, but I did my first Thanksgiving giveaway. So with that is what started that as well.
And so now I know you mentioned that you were a wife, a mom, you have multiple organizations, but you wanted to make sure that you continue to do Au-Some Kidz Rock.
Yes.
How have you found balance for yourself?
It's funny you asked that question. I think for me, it was just like, I know that if I did not do Au-Some Kidz Rock, because I say it all the time, Au-Some Kidz Rock is my kids. And I feel like that if I didn't stick with it, would it be where it is right now if I didn't? Now, don't get me wrong. We just celebrated 7 years this past December with our first Black Tie Gala, but it'll be 8 years this year. And don't get me wrong, life is life, but at the midst of that, I still had to keep going with it because I felt like it was needed. It's a need, and I feel like that if I want to be the change I wish to see, then I have to keep going with this. Yes, life has happened in my personal life, It's been 5 years I've been divorced. I'm a single mother. But at the midst of that, I said I have to keep going. Did I have to take some downtime? Yes. Did I have to take a sabbatical? Yes. But I still kept going because I knew that if I didn't, I feel like I would let myself down and let my kids down. But the balance came in with, this is something I want to do. So what do I have to do to make it happen? Not only that, what am I willing to sacrifice to make it happen? Because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about them.
Yes.
And
so now I know you mentioned your son. He's going to be a senior next year and graduating, and he does have autism. How has that journey been for you?
It's been an interesting journey with Caleb. He's not my only son that has autism. My other son, Cameron, he's 14, he'll be 15 this year. He has autism as well, but he's very high functioning. Now, it's interesting because on the spectrum, they're different. Yes. So in one area where Caleb is strong at, Cameron is weak, and vice versa. Not only that, my middle son, Caden, he has dyslexia and he has ADHD. So it's interesting. But with Caleb, I feel like the journey I feel like I grew with him. Because I was learning as I go. I had to research. I had to find things, When I found out, I didn't even know what autism was.
Okay.
And
like so many other parents.
Yeah. And it was like, by me being a young mother, because it was just the two boys when I found out. He was 2.5 and Caden was 1. But when the journey started, I just said, okay, God, this is me and you. I have to do this because if I don't, what's going to happen as he gets older? Is it scary? Yes. When you find out, I cried, what did I do wrong? I feel like it was something that I did with the reason why he has autism.
And a lot of, especially moms, tend to feel like that, not knowing what autism is or how did they child with autism.
I think, too, as the years went by me sticking with everything, I researched. I'm like, okay, let me ask the pediatrician. So what's going on? Can he hear? Come to find out, he had frequent ear infections, so that affected his hearing. So by the fluid being in his ears, it delayed his speech. Not only that, as time went on, now he's, in high school, we've had our ups and downs. It's days when it was good days, bad days, it's in between days, but we still stuck it out. Even with the stemming, learning what that is, learning what it means, doing sign language, the whole process, even being in school. Putting him in school, that was scary because it's like, okay, if I put my child in school, are they going to put them in special ed? Because, of course, growing up, we was like, okay, if they special ed, something wrong with them. And so not only that, just learning as I go, like he's left-handed. I'm not. I'm right-handed. So I had to learn how to use my left hand to help him with his work.
Especially as he's younger and started learning to write.
Yes. When it came to writing sentences, the process with that, helping him to put nouns and verbs together in a whole sentence, that was a process. Him being in ABA services outside of school, speech, and he didn't do OT, but he did speech. And he did speech in school. So it's been a journey, but to see him where he is, not only that, he has his own business.
Yes.
It's called Caleb's Bakery. So he's been in business for 4 years now. He bakes cupcakes. He told me, he was like, Mom, I want to have a building. So that's the goal for 2025 is for Caleb to be in a building. But it's been a journey. It's been interesting. Right now, we're working on social skills, as he gets older because, of course, he's going to graduate. He wants to go to college for culinary, so we're working on it.
And so now I know you mentioned that both of your sons do have autism. What made you go to the doctor to get them assessed?
I think with Caleb, because I was like, I just asked questions. I think as a parent, when you start the journey, it's like, okay, what do I do next? Because nobody's going to tell you what to do. You have to be like, okay, what can I do next, right? And for me, that I didn't have the support. It was like, okay, if I need to do this, let's find out what this is. And so when I went to his former pediatrician, she said get his ears checked. So she referred me to an ear specialist. Then I think I had like something from a women's conference. On the front it said neurologist. So I looked it up, come to find out they specialize with helping with children that have autism. So I reached out to him. It was Dr. Salzberg. And then he referred me to University of Chicago, and he said they have a disability clinic. So that's where they got tested at. So by me asking questions and researching, I had to do what I had to do to, help them to get to where they had to be. But I can say for Cameron, with his journey was a little different because he was 5 when we found out. But I saw the signs, but I was like, oh, he'll be okay. He'll grow out of it. And by that time, I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter. So it's like processing that plus being pregnant, that's a lot. But I'm like, okay, let's keep it going. So
going back to Au-Some Kidz Rock, what type of services do you all provide?
So Au-Some Kidz Rock, we are in the process of providing services. So what we want to do is be able to have ABA services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, sign language, meaning that we're teaching the kids and the teenagers, but the parents to have the opportunity as well too. We are going to be starting our support groups back up in February of this year. We did it last year. Not only that, like say if your child has a gift, like if they sing, dance, or draw, whatever, we will have people come in and help them cultivate that gift. I know some parents, they do have the Medicaid waiver, some don't. So if your insurance doesn't cover that, we'll have scholarships to help you with the extra to be able to do the services outside of school, like if they need that. And not only that, when they get ready to go to college, we want to provide scholarships to help. So when they get ready to go to college, that takes the pressure off the parent. But that's what we provide for Au-Some Kidz Rock.
Awesome. Those are some really good services that you all are providing. What is the reason why those specific services are being provided by your organization?
Because I feel like that we're, even though I'm in Maryville, I'm from Gary, Indiana, but we do have ABA services. But I feel like when it comes to the schools, they do have things in school, but not enough. And so the reason why I said I want to provide these services so that you can be able to come to this place, everything that you need is there. And if we can't accommodate you, then I know other people and other places you can go to. I can say you can go here, you can go here if we can't accommodate you. But my reason is because it's needed. And, I don't want to just accommodate those in Northwest Indiana, also Chicagoland area. And we have been branching out. Even though somebody reached out to me about coming to Indianapolis. So my goal was to say, hey, be the change you wish to see. And that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Now, in relation to all the families that you are helping, in talking with them, what have been some of the challenges that you see them facing with getting resources and services?
I think for me, the thing is when it comes to school-wise, IEPs. That's another thing I meant to mention about Au-Some Kidz Rock. We give education. You can make people aware all day, every day, but it's about educating the parents on what to do when it comes to what is an IEP, what is a 504 plan, what is your rights as a parent, knowing that your child can be present in that meeting. If you don't feel comfortable being an advocate, you have an advocate present. Well, we're going to be providing as well, being an advocate. Not only that, just the different things of the IEPs, 504 plans. Some people don't know about SSI, getting Social Security for your child. Not only that, I think the other thing is the waiting list. That's frustrating because it's like okay, you say one thing and then you do something different. That's frustrating to a parent. Recently, a friend of mine, we actually worked together, and she told me that her son is on the waiting list. It's been a whole year. Why is that?
Can you go into a little bit more detail about, because some people may be listening and wondering what wait list you're referring to?
So when it comes to, say for instance, if your child is waiting to get ABA services, some places you do have to be put on a wait list because of the demand for it. You know what I'm saying? Because some children or teenagers that go to ABA services, either they go half a day, full day, or, so you have to wait, right? Not only that, it's the waiting list when it comes to sometimes as far as if they have speech therapy or occupational therapy outside of school, because they do provide speech in school, but it's different on the outside. So you have to wait Of course, you have to get a referral from the doctor. They have to see if it's going to be extra therapists that's going to be available. Sometimes some leave, some come back. So that's a wait. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, when it comes to Medicaid waiver, it's a wait list for that too, because even though you sign up for it, you have to wait for them to approve. You know, so it's a lot of
get the services.
Yes, it's a lot of wait lists. Not even with trying to find a place for your child to get diagnosed, even though the school may do it, but you want to get like a second opinion. So if you have to go outside of the school, there's a wait list. So everything right now is a wait list. Is it frustrating? Yes, because you're like, okay, I'm trying to accommodate my child or my teenager, and what do I do up until that point? So it does get frustrating, and I get it because I am a parent. So it's like, that's another reason why I started Au-Some Kidz Rock. Even though I'm helping other people, I'm still helping my children in the process. So,
and one of the things I did want to mention also, when the school does provide the diagnosis for autism, some insurance companies, when you are getting speech or ABA outside of the school, they may not provide it, and so you may need to go into to see a neurologist or a clinical psychologist also.
That's good to know. See, even though I've been doing this for 7 years, I'm still learning as I go. Do I research it? Do I see stuff? And what I see, or if I hear from other parents or other people, such as yourself, I'm learning and applying it and telling other parents, hey, this is what's going on. I understand you're frustrated. I get it. But this is the route you have to go, or let's go a different way to go about doing it. So.
And I know you also spoke about the IEP process. Can you tell us what was your first experience with an IEP process? What made you go out and research and get more assistance with going into an IEP meeting?
I think for me, it wasn't bad. It was very informative. The reason why I said it is because every meeting I've been at, and when they gave you the pamphlet to say these are your rights, they always ask you, do you want it? You don't have to take it, but for me, I read it. I have all of them at home, and with their IEPs, I always kept up with them each year. What was their IEP to see their progress? And not only that, to tell parents that's listening, an IEP for your child is not a bad thing. It's not mean it's going to hinder them. It's actually going to help them because it's a form of helping them. They have goals set for them to help them to where they need to be, right? Because it's progress over perfection. So it wasn't bad, I say, as they got older, it got kind of different because depending on who was in the meeting, who had a say, I tell parents all the time, read through the IEP that they give you before the meeting and read it after. Don't just let them give you anything. Don't just go along with anything because what you say is okay. That's going to carry through your child through their IEP. And then as a parent, you can say as many times as you want to throughout the school year, hey, we need a meeting. They can't tell you no. So it's been interesting. But like I said, right now for Caleb, because we had a plan, and then come to find out they switched it and they didn't tell me. And so it's like, okay.
So how did you find out about the
So when we had a recent one, this was before before they got out of school. And I went back to the meeting that we had before then. This is before he transitioned to be a junior. We had it before the school year was out, and we had a plan because they said they were going to put him in a couple of general ed classes. That's not what happened. You kept him in the one classroom and let him go for band, for lunch, I forgot gym, and now he's in culinary classes. That's not what we agreed upon. And so as a parent, that is frustrating because I'm like, what other parent gets frustrated about that too? Because not only that, I understand that there are other kids in the classroom, but for him, I challenge him. Just because he's in that classroom with other kids, I feel like that you need to give him work on his level.
Yes.
So if you're giving him second and third grade work and he's telling you it's too easy, then what are we doing? Mm-hmm. And so again, that's frustrating. So it's like, okay, let's go back to the table. Let's change that and let's stick to the plan because if this is what we're doing, that's fine. If not, as a parent, you have a right to say, hey, if I need to move to accommodate my child, then you will have to do that. Is it going to be frustrating a little bit? Yes, but this is your child, and you have to do what you need to do to make sure they get what they need while they're in school and while they're out of school.
And then eventually, after you found out and you spoke with the school, were they able to make those changes you needed?
We're still working on that process right now. Hopefully, when they get back off a break, you know what I'm saying, it can change that, because at the same time, I understand that there are certain things, because the curriculum is different. You have your set for core 40 classes, because it's not the same, just core 40, now it's 43 credits. So at the same time, I understand you're thinking about how's he going to be in the classroom. If you have a pair with him, I think he'll be fine. If we do one class, that's fine. If it's too much, then I get it. But at least he's given the opportunity for that. Mm-hmm. So.
Now, I also wanted to talk about some of the events that you all have already had. Mm-hmm. So I know that you mentioned we just finished the gala, and I did attend, and it was amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing job to you for putting that together.
Yes, I'm still on cloud 9 from that day. It was December the 14th of 2024. We did our first Black Tie Gala, and my reason for doing it is because I wanted to acknowledge family and friends that I knew that had a child or a teenager, to give them their flowers for doing it. It went really well. We actually are working on things for next year, this year right now. But the reason for me doing it too is because I just said that nobody's doing it. I'm like, it's been 7 years. But in the years up to the gala, we've done, I did a 5K walk. Not only that, we're going to be doing that again this year. Not only that, we've done fundraisers throughout the year, like at different restaurants and different places. But not only that, I think the biggest thing was the gala for me. Just to see it before everybody got to, just to walk in there and say, hey, wow, it really happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'm like, it was a big accomplishment for me. Like, not only that, I did not know I was going to receive a grant that night. I also received another grant from a silent person. I received 2 more grants that night. So in total, we got 3 grants last night. So I was like, let's work on things for this year. So I'm excited about what's happening as far as like us having, like I mentioned earlier, about the support groups. My reason for starting the support groups is I feel like that it's needed. Parents need to know that, hey, you're not alone in this process, and that you can get the help you need. You know what I'm saying? You can have a safe space to talk about what's going on and know it's not going anywhere. Not only that, the support groups will be for the siblings as well. Because, you have children, teenagers that have siblings also, and they might not have special abilities, and so they're there to help as well, too.
Now, in relation to the support groups, will you have the parents there with the children, or are you separating and having the children with their own support
when it comes
group?
to when we do it, well, the first session will be just strictly for the parents. And then the second session that we have the following time we do it will be for the siblings. And then when we have the other meetings, the parents can come, they can bring their child or teenager. They'll have an opportunity to learn different things. Like we'll talk about, that's what I said about the education part. While the parents are in the meeting, we'll have something going on for the kids and teenagers while they're there. So, they can bring them as well. So.
Now, I want to go back to you starting the nonprofit. What would you say has been the biggest learning opportunity for you with the nonprofit?
I mean, we say learn, like, what do you mean? Like, I guess, like starting it or doing
the entire process. What have you learned? Something that you're able to take with you.
I can say that I learned from day one that, when you're doing something, when you think that family or friends are going to support you, it's really going to be people that you don't know that's going to be your biggest supporters. Is it going to hurt? Yes, but you develop tough skin. Because people are going to say, oh, well, I heard about your little business, or, what is that? And I'm like, but I've been sharing it. I've been talking to you about it. So it's like you have to not take it personal. Does it hurt? Yes. But not only that, you get to meet so many people, on this journey. I've met different people, different families. I made new friends during this process. Not only that, it's sticking with it. The endurance. I've learned to persevere in spite of what's going on in my personal life. That's when you ask about balance. Yeah. How to, keep it separate. Even when it comes to working on my calendar, okay, well, I got a calendar for Au-Some Kidz Rock, and I got a personal calendar, keeping that separate from myself. But I think by doing this, I learned that you just have to do it. Do it scared. I know some people are like, well, I don't know about doing it. I've never done a nonprofit or an LLC. Is it a process? Yes, but you just have to put the work in there. If you really want to do it and you have a passion and a drive to do it, you just have to stick with it. Is it going to be hard sometimes? Yes. Are you going to want to quit? Yes, plenty of times. But at the end of the day, when you see the progress of where you started from where you are now, it's worth it.
Now, if there is a mother or a father or someone who's the caregiver of a kid who has autism and they are listening right now, what would you say to them?
I would say the first thing is, it is not your fault. I want to say that as many times, it's not your fault. You are not alone in this process. So if you feel like that, you're not. Take the pressure off yourself. Give yourself grace. Give your child, your teenager grace, or your adult that you have that may have a special ability, give them grace too. It's about progress, not perfection. Where your child is at right now, where your teenager is at right now, just know that where they are right now is where they need to be, and it's going to be okay. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you
us.
so much.
I love hearing about your organization, love being a part of it, and I can't wait to see what 2025 has in stores for you all. And I want to thank you all also for joining us today, and also thanking everyone at CAN TV for allowing the Cozy Project this opportunity to do this. And I want you all to, in 2025, to make sure that we have gratitude, that we are going out being that change agent that we are looking for and changing the narrative.
Yes.
Because nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's good.
Thank you all for joining us. Until next time, I am Sammika Cosey.
And I'm Christina Hopson.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.